All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're exploring one of the most incredible frontiers in all of science, the biotech revolution. And we're not just talking about studying life anymore, we're talking about actually building with it.
So think about this for a second. What if we could completely reinvent how we test new medicines without a single animal involved? Or what if, down the road, we could literally print a new kidney for someone who needs one? I know it sounds like something out of a movie, but these are the very real goals of the technologies we're about to dive into.
So, how on earth do we even get there? Well, it all starts with a powerful new set of tools, a biotech toolkit that's seriously changing the game for medicine and biology.
And here's what's so wild. This isn't about just one single breakthrough. Nope. It's about three totally distinct fields that are finally starting to connect and work together, creating this complete system for building with biology.
First up, we've got biomanufacturing. The best way to think about this is like we're hijacking living things, like bacteria or other cells, and turning them into microscopic little factories that can crank out incredibly complex and valuable stuff for us.
Next, we have bioprinting. And yeah, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a super advanced 3D printer, but instead of plastic, it uses a special ink that's actually made of living cells to build biological tissues, one precise layer at a time.
And the final piece of the puzzle is organ on chip. I want you to picture a tiny, clear computer chip, but inside it has living human cells and microscopic channels that act like blood vessels. It's designed to be a tiny working model of a human organ you can hold in your hand.
Okay, so let's start with the foundation for all of this. Where do we even get the building blocks for this revolution? That brings us to the biological factory. Biomanufacturing is really the engine room, driving everything else we're going to talk about. It's the process that lets us make the specialized cells, the growth factors, all the biological components we need, and do it on a massive scale. It's our source for all the raw materials.
The process itself is kind of like a super sophisticated biological assembly line. First, you start by engineering what are called cell factories to do a very specific job. Then, those cells are grown in these enormous, perfectly controlled tanks called bioreactors. And finally, in the last step, the valuable product they've made is carefully collected and purified for use.
And the range of what we can make here is just staggering. And a lot of it is already part of your life. We're talking life-saving drugs like insulin, modern vaccines, even the enzymes that make your laundry detergent work better. And crucially for our story today, this is how we produce the essential growth factors that are needed for the next step. All right, so the factory has produced our raw materials. The next big question is, how do we assemble them into something useful? Well, this is where the printer comes in. You see, this is that critical link. Bioprinting takes all the stuff that comes out of biomanufacturing, the cells, the proteins, the growth factors, and it uses them as the actual building blocks to construct these complex, three-dimensional living tissues.
And there's not just one way to do it either. You have inkjet methods that work a lot like your desk printer at home. There are extrusion-based systems that look an awful lot like a pastry chef decorating a cake. And you even have these super high-precision laser and light-based techniques for building unbelievably detailed structures. The secret sauce, of course, is the bioink. And it's not just a blob of cells. It's a really carefully designed gel that's packed with living cells, all the nutrients they need, and structural stuff like collagen, all to give the cells a supportive environment to grow into a real tissue. Okay, so we can make the biological materials, and we can print them into tissues. Awesome. But how do we know if they actually work like they're supposed to? For that, we need a simulator. And this is exactly the job of organ-on-chip technology. It gives us this incredible real-time window into human biology. You can think of it as the ultimate test track for the tissues we build, and for new drugs. And you can do it all without ever needing a human or animal test subject. These chips are just mind-blowingly sophisticated versions of our bodies in miniature. They've got these tiny channels to simulate blood flowing. They use multiple types of cells to see how tissues really interact. They can even apply physical forces, like the constant stretching and relaxing that a lung feels when we breathe. The advantages here are just transformative. We get data that's way more relevant to human bodies than animal models could ever be, which dramatically cuts down on the need for animal testing. But maybe the most exciting part is that this technology blows the doors wide open for truly personalized medicine. One day, we could test a new drug on a chip that's running on your actual cells.
Now, you can probably see where all this is headed. These aren't just three separate cool technologies. Their true game-changing power is only really unlocked when you see them for what they are becoming, a single integrated system.
And this table just lays it all out perfectly. Just look at the shift in scale. Biomanufacturing happens on an industrial scale, making stuff by the liter. Bioprinting takes those materials and builds with them at the lab and clinical scale. And then, organ on chip lets us model everything at the micro scale. They have different functions at different scales, but they're all working together toward these incredible goals like tissue engineering and personalized medicine.
So it really all comes down to this. The factory produces the materials, the printer assembles them, and the simulator tests them. Put them all together, and you have this incredibly powerful pipeline that is poised to revolutionize everything, from how we find new medicines to how we deliver truly personal treatments.
And that leaves us with one last big thought. We are gaining these amazing tools to engineer biology in ways that were pure science fiction just a generation ago. So the challenge in front of us isn't just a technical one anymore. The real question is about the choices we're going to make as we start to design and build our very own biological future.